You know, it seems the internet loves itself a good panic, because right now a lot of people are freaking out about the rumored price leak for Valve's new Steam machine. And there are literally people who've seen those numbers and are already declaring that this device is probably going to be dead on arrival. But I've seen those same numbers, and I don't think that's going to be the case. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Lanzeral, back in another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the rumored price leak of Valve's new Steam machine and what this could potentially mean for you. Now, if this is your first time hearing about the Steam machine, this is Valve's second attempt at what is essentially a PC console hybrid for your living room, with the first attempt happening back in 2015, and let's just say that wasn't very well received. The first one was basically a Linux box, and at the time, the operating system that they were utilizing wasn't very user-friendly, and it was basically a complete flop. Now, with the second go-around of the Steam machine, Valve has essentially taken the lessons from the first Steam machine, plus the lessons they've also gotten from the Steam Deck, which is now Valve's probably their most popular piece of hardware that they have, and was basically an avenue to expose a lot more people to Steam's ecosystem, that I'm fairly confident that the Steam machine will probably perform pretty well. And I'm not saying that just out of wishful thinking. Valve themselves did confirm that the new Steam machine is basically going to be 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. And let that sink in, because the Steam Deck, as it is, which is a handheld device, is capable of playing AAA titles like Elden Ring and even Expedition 33. Now granted, on the lower end, but it's still capable of doing it, and at 6 times more performance, I can pretty much envision what Valve has been saying, that the Steam machine should actually be capable of running certain games at 4K resolution, which is insane. But sure, while all that sounds pretty nice, what's all this about the rumored price leak? Someone had reported on Reddit that they had basically found what seemed to be potential prices for the Steam machine from a Czech retail website called smarty.cz. And what they basically found indicated that the Steam machine's price could potentially be anywhere from $950 for what is the 512 gig version, all the way up to $1,100 for what supposedly could either be a 1TB or a 2TB version. Now, while that does sound reasonably high, originally a lot of people were basically estimating that the Steam machine was potentially going to cost somewhere around $850 USD. And even though the numbers that we're currently hearing do sound higher than that initial $850 estimate, that may not necessarily be the case, because due to the fact that this is a Czech retail website, their prices aren't necessarily going to be the same as that of us, either in the United States or even within Canada. And just taking a look at how much they sell the Steam Decks for on their website currently, that pretty much confirms that suspicion, with the Steam Deck on their website basically being an additional $100 to $150 depending on which version you're getting. So if we take that into account, there's still a strong chance that we're potentially still going to be getting the $850 console, but that would potentially be for the 512 model. And while this could potentially mean that the 1 or 2TB version could still be $1,000, I don't think that that's necessarily going to be a problem, because looking at the current landscape of options that we have, that being from consoles on the PS5 or on the Xbox, with the cheapest offering there being the Xbox Series S, and that now going for $450, not even taking into account the fact that you're going to also be paying the subscription just so you can play online, I feel like eventually those prices add up. And with the Steam machine, even though yes, you're paying a little bit more for the console, you will not have to pay anything just for you to be able to play online. So there's no requirement for any type of subscription there. Plus the fact that you now have access to basically a functioning PC, you're not locked into a single store. Yes, this is a Steam machine, and you immediately have access to Steam, which is Valve's own storefront, where you're basically able to browse the web with your device and go to other websites where you can then basically purchase Steam keys for a lot less. And I'll even give you some websites that you can basically purchase from. And I'd say those two alone is already a pretty big bonus to potentially go for this type of system, because again, you're saving money on the required subscription aspect if you even want to be able to utilize your console to its full extent. Plus, you're no longer locked into that one storefront where you have no choice to basically purchase your games for a lot less. And sure, some of you might say if you have a disc-based system, you can then buy used games, but let's be real, it's pretty clear that these console manufacturers are phasing out disc-based systems one generation at a time. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2 generations, we no longer even have a machine with a disc at all. And now that means you are really locked into their ecosystem completely. But okay, if you're not resonating with those initial points, say because you're someone who doesn't necessarily care for console gaming, but you're still interested in getting on the PC ecosystem side, let's talk a little bit about the performance when comparing it to a traditional build. For the price of $1,000, you'd probably be building yourself something utilizing, let's say, either an RTX 3080 or maybe a 4070 if you can find them in good prices, but then we're not even taking into account all the other components that you're going to be needing for that build. And as you're probably already aware, the prices for those components keep going up more and more. And while I am giving reasons for why you could potentially still want to get yourself a Steam machine, it's probably not for everyone. And I'll even use myself as an example. I basically have 3 different PC builds under my belt, with my most recent one having a 4090. So safe to say, I'm not pressed for a Steam machine because I already have something that basically beats that out. But even if I wanted to potentially buy one to, say, use in a living room or use in a bedroom, there are other solutions out there that will probably save you a lot more money. In my case, I basically utilize streaming applications that I can then use to stream my main PC rig to a less powerful device in the living room, in the bedroom, or even to a tablet. And those work seamlessly. I still get the full power of my PC build, and I can basically play it wherever I want. Now, of course, if you got the money like that and you still want to buy it anyways, go for it. The device itself looks aesthetically very pleasing, and like we already discussed, it is going to be a very competent PC that you probably won't have to worry about upgrading for a couple of years. Now, if by chance you're curious about what application I use for my PC streaming, I do make use of Moonlight. And there are tons of great videos out there that can basically show you how to set up Moonlight from beginning to end, and I will say it's honestly pretty easy. And hell, if you're too lazy to go look for a video yourself, let me know, I can even share with you some of the tutorials I've used. Also, if you're over there wondering why would I want to set something like Moonlight up, I'm perfectly content just gaming off of my PC at my desk. I'll go ahead and attest, I don't always enjoy having to sit at my desk to play my games, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other people out there who feel the same. Sometimes I just want to be able to kick back on my couch and play my games on a much bigger TV that 9 times out of 10 is probably also of a better quality than the monitor. If you're someone who resonates with the couch gameplay model, I can definitely say that the Steam Machine, or hell, even the PC streaming, would most likely be for you. But those are my thoughts on the Steam Machine, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. You think $1,000 is potentially too much, or do you believe that all the different things that I listed that could potentially offset the cost will actually make it worth it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. It really does help the channel a lot. And if you like what we do here when it comes to video game news and reviews, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn that notification bell so you never miss one of you. Y'all, that is it for me. I hope you guys have a good one, and I will catch you all later. Peace.